You know, I drove across the country a few times in all kinds of weather, and I gotta say it was the best and worst experience. From getting stuck in ditches to flat tires, car accidents, and to even meeting the nicest people. So to start off with my experience of driving from Michigan to Arizona, which is about 1,900 miles or 3,058 kilometers for the non-Americans. So my dad took the majority of the drive down there, and you know, you never realize how empty America is until you drive through it. There's a lot of cornfields and flat land, and trees. You can't forget about the trees. But after about 3 energy drinks and 20 hours, my dad started to burn out a bit, and we stopped to use the restroom, and after doing that, my dad got back in the car and asked me this. Hey, was the ground moving for you too in there? No. And that's when I knew it was my cue to take a shift at driving, which worked out since I actually passed out for about an hour at one point, so I got some rest. But when I was driving, he was twitching in his sleep, so if you ever need a lesson to not drink so many energy drinks in a row, that might be it. But in the end, it only took us about 28 hours to make the drive across the country, which is pretty good if I could say so myself. Now on the flip side, I did the drive from Arizona to Michigan solo, and I gotta say, I saw some stuff like this brutal truck accident, and that truck had my full attention. But then I look in the passenger side mirror and found out what the truck hit. And when the bigger vehicle looks that destroyed, you know the smaller vehicle's day is just absolutely demolished. Maybe even their week, maybe even their year. I don't know if they got injured or not. So at one point I stopped to grab some energy drinks in Missouri, and I had the oddest banter with the cashier and some other guy, and it went a little bit like this. Hey guys, just gonna grab some of these energy drinks and then I'll have to stop at the McDonald's right next door. Probably gonna throw up all that combo, but hey, it's the choice of traveling. Oh hey, you'll probably see me at the McDonald's. Okay. Oh yo, that's not what I thought you meant at all, okay. And I proceed to whip out $3,000 in cash, since I never deposited my tips from being a delivery driver. And this is what he said. Yo, who are you and what do you do? Well, I'm Brandon. I'm just some guy. And then I gave him $5. And he said good luck for your trip back to Michigan. He was a nice dude. But sometimes I feel like a jerk for pulling out that much cash and just giving him a $5. But hey, beggars can't be choosers, right? He probably assumed I was like a drug dealer. Or a stripper maybe. But honestly, the people of Missouri were so kind. Even the drive-thru lady was really happy. During this trip, I also had a tire sensor go off, and it was in the middle of the night, so I thought I was completely done for since there's no tire shops open at that time. So I pulled up to a candy factory gas station, and I used their air machine, but it required 4 quarters and was on a timer. I started to run out of quarters, and it went a little bit like this. Oh my gosh, bro, the flashing lights from that sign are stressing me out, and I can't tell what tire needs air. I'm about to run out of quarters here. This is way too stressful. You know, I ended up getting it with the last of my quarters, but honestly, I was starting to lose it a little bit. I also took a stop in Texas at a motel, and I should have known it was going to be a ghetto one when I saw the Motel 6 across the street. But you know, the place was alright until I took a shower, and all the towels had a yellow stain on them, and I'd prefer to not try figuring out what that is, and I probably only slept a couple of hours. I'd rate it a 3 out of 10 experience, but then within 5 minutes of leaving, I got pulled over by a motorcycle cop. And I thought the speed limits weren't real in Texas, but I guess I was wrong. And it especially should be mentioned that homie was pulling everyone over. Before I even pulled off after he pulled me over, he had another person on the side of the road. Like, this dude was going off of his tickets, and he only gave me a warning, so, you know, I'd rate that experience a 4 out of 10. Better than the motel at least. Oh, now let's get on to the road trip down to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. Oh, this one was an absolute mess. So some context to this. My grandparents had a trip set up to go down there, but they ended up getting so they were no longer able to go, and so they couldn't cancel the trip since it was so last minute. And so me being the YouTuber wannabe at the time, or aka unemployed, I hopped right on that opportunity, and my friend was able to get work off at the last minute. So we went down there, and bro, the drive down there was a breeze. It was so easy, nice weather. Me and my friend split shifts on it, and we got there super quick and easy. But then there was a problem, and this is where the nightmare began. So we get to the hotel after driving 1,000 miles, or about 1,600 kilometers, aka about a 15-hour drive. But right when we got there, they told us we couldn't book into the hotel because it was only for people over a certain age. And so we got all the way down there after 15 hours just to be told that, yeah, we have nowhere to stay. And that was stressful as can be, so we're just calling my grandparents trying to figure this out, and they wouldn't let us in, and finally, they let us in after a while, but they're like, oh, we're not supposed to do this. Yo, give me a break, bro. We didn't do anything crazy. That was so stressful because I thought we were about to have no place to sleep for the night, and we're 15 hours from home, and so we can't really drive back because, you know, sleep deprivation and all that fun stuff. But that was miserable, but we finally got in, and, you know, the trip was alright. And then on the way back is when things got absolutely horrific. So I was getting a whole bunch of calls and texts telling me this: hey, you should probably wait to leave. There's a really bad snowstorm coming in. Nah, I'll be fine. I've drove a lot. And then I got texts coming in as well. And me being the professional driver, you know, I was a delivery driver. I drove across the country a few times, so I thought I was adequately experienced. I was mistaken. Like, I thought the storm wasn't a threat, but then I hit Ohio. And you know, at one point, we stopped at a gas station, and the whole time the car was drifting and sliding. And you know, I had a slight crack in my windshield. And my friend turned on the defroster on it, and since it was so cold out there, the hot and cold cracked my windshield even more. I think it was about -4 and it felt like -25 out. And at that gas station, I had a sweatshirt on, and walking from my car to inside the gas station, I've never felt that scared of the weather. I felt my veins freezing over. I felt my body temperature dropping super quickly, and I was only outside for maybe 15-20 seconds. Anyways, so this drive was through the middle of the night, so the snowplows weren't out, and when they did show up, they're plowing the way into the city, and we were going out of the city. So they weren't actually plowing our side of the road. And I drive a Ford Focus. This is by no means a snow machine. And so I'm sitting here plowing through big old bushels of snow to get onto the highway. And my tires were not bald, but they were getting there. So there was no traction at all. I was just Tokyo drifting my way through whole intersections. And you know, driving long distance is easy until you have to be hyper focused for the whole time. Eventually we slipped off the road, going on an on-ramp, and this is where things got wacky and wild. Whoa, 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 whoa. The car's got no traction, bro. We're sliding. Yeah, we're stuck, bro. We're not getting out of this. So we tried everything we could do to get the car. We tried pushing it. We put cardboard under the tire sticks, but nothing worked. We had a lot of people stop by to try help us, but with no luck. We even had a semi offer to pull us out with a really just ghetto setup, but it would have probably damaged the car, and I wasn't gonna risk it. And this is where things get kinda clown worthy. The police stop by, and the first thing they tell me is, hey bro, your grandma called. I have no idea. And apparently my grandma called the police department because she has me on to find my friend so she can see where I am. And she saw me off the side of the road for a long period of time, and instead of calling me, she called the cops to check up on me. And after a while, a tow truck actually stopped by and pulled us out. We didn't even have to call them. They just stopped by and they're like, alright, we'll get you out. Which is really nice because I think a lot of people were stuck that night. But after driving for a while, I started hallucinating because, you know, hyper-focus, lack of sleep, it really just makes things a bit scary. I started seeing like helicopters flying over the road like 3 feet above it. Honestly, I shouldn't have been driving, but your boy made it. Professional driver, terrifying experience. And I saw birds flocking across the road. I don't think there were actually any birds there, to be honest, and stuff like that. It wasn't great, but eventually we made it back. And I gotta rate the Ohio experience a 1 out of 10. But getting towed just feels a little bit like this. Oh my god, bro, I feel like such a loser. I couldn't even keep it on the road. But when you're a kid, road trips are a lot easier since you get to just chill, maybe watch a movie or play some games like finding every state license plate or trying to find certain letters on signs, you know, slug bugs and stuff like that. Which is a lot more enjoyable than that feeling you get when the GPS says to stay on the same road for 1,000 miles. But when I was younger, we had to use things like MapQuest or just straight up a regular map. So I'm glad to have GPS, but it's a whole lot easier. And you know, speaking of traveling, I lived in Michigan for most of my life. And when I moved down to Arizona, I thought I was going to be a brand new person. But that wasn't the case. I was in a new place with the same problems. So what I'm trying to get at is that you can't outrun your internal problems, and there's something you'll have to face eventually. Peace of mind isn't a situation or a location, it's something you have to find through repairing yourself. And go ahead and comment your road trip experiences, and feel free to click this video right here.